Hi everyone. Today I wanted to share with you some creations that I've been making with our beautiful bow thin cuts. So they come in two sizes. There's this large size and the smaller size, and they are designed to make you this sort of beautiful bow. So the two pieces, this is obviously the bow bit, and then this is your ribbon underneath with this little piece curls around. I'm going to show you that construction shortly. But there is so much more that you can do with them. So you could take two of the bow sections, okay, and I've just offset them, and all I did, I actually trimmed off this little hangout piece and I've joined them up. So when you're doing any of your bows, you need to consider the types of paper or cardstock that you're using. So the thinner the cardstock, the more sort of rounded your bows are going to get, the firmer your cardstock. So this is some of our beautiful pearl paper. So because it's a thicker, okay, it was harder to curl around. So it did, in some instances, sort of create a bit squarer look. So it creates a flatter bow. So same with, this is the ochre paper. It's a bronzy paper, so like that pearl one. There's also a black version as well, so they all look really, really nice. I'm going to talk about the gems in a minute. Glitter paper, okay, it was still a bit squarish kind of, but it looks stunning. So this is our beautiful bluebell glitter paper, and the thing I love about our glitter paper, I'm roughing that up to the max, I'm getting no glitter on me. So it is true glitter paper. The glitter is going to stay where you expect it to and not come off on everything else around you. I've added into the center of this just one of the bluebell pearls, which just looks stunning just to finish that off. And so this is actually the large bow, two of the large bows in its ribbon, and then two of the smaller bow. And so just kept offsetting them and that. And I'm going to show you how to construct a bow like that because that's really cute. And then this one I think is my favorite. My husband didn't agree, but it's my favorite. This is with our holographic paper. And so depending on what you hold up with it or put it against or the light, as to what color cast it's going to show. So it does look different in different lightings. And I love that effect. So again, that double bow at the bottom with the double smaller bow at the top. And so I want to show you how easy this is. So I've pre-cut some pieces for us. So this is the black ore paper, and literally I use glue dots. Now you could use all sorts of adhesives with these, but I choose to use the glue dots, and there are actually three sizes. This is the mini, there's the ultra thin, the larger dots, and then there's a size in between. So I've got all three sizes here with me, and I've actually ended up using all three sizes. So this is the mini, and then there's a micro, which is this tiny little dot here, and it's the micro that I actually want to use on this particular one. So with the die, it does cut a stitched edge. Now you can see it better on this craft card one. It does leave a stitched edge, and like all dies, you want to be careful which side is going to be your front, which side is going to be your back, because obviously it's making the indents and cutting for those stitch lines. So on the back of the paper, it doesn't look as neat. So I always want to make sure that I'm applying my glue dot, there's one, to the back of my cardstock, and I'm going to fold my bow to the back and secure it in the center. Now the reason I choose glue dots is because they dry instantly. I don't have to worry about holding it together, waiting for liquid glue to dry, and they are super, super strong. I love them. So that's my little bow. I'm then going to put another glue dot. So all I'm doing is literally pressing my cardstock onto my glue dot strip, and it is pulling a glue dot off. I know that's probably hard to see on camera. And I'm going to place my glue dot on here. Then this is what I've been doing, and I'm sure you could get away with less glue dots. So I put one in the center at the front, and I'm going to fold this paper over. Now the reason I do the one at the center is because depending on the thickness of your cardstock or paper that you're using as to how far over the other side this tab folds up to. So I'm going to stick my glue dot reasonably close to this edge because I know when I fold this over, it's only going to grab a small section. So by having that glue dot here, it's securing it in place in the middle. And then what I will find is when I attach this to a card or a present, I'm going to put one of the next size up glue dots, the minis, on that spot, and that will help hold that back little strip, because you can see, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's quite narrow. It only comes into here. That's the edge of my cardstock there. So that'll help hold that in place so that when it's on my card or project, it will be lovely. The finishing touches for your bows, you can just leave it just like that. You could also be adding a gem of some description. So I might add one of our black and white dots into the middle, but I actually really just think that's sweet. So I'm just going to leave that as it is. To do the 4 bow, right, we're starting with the bigger base and I'm cutting off that little strip. So that's my bow. I'm then going to make my big bow. So I'm using the mini dots for this size just because they're that little bit bigger. You can use larger dots than what you need, and then you just fold the edges, like the glue just folds in on itself, and that works quite well too. But I'm going to be honest, I like having all 3 sizes and having it exactly the size I want. So there's one. And the second one comes together quite quickly. So you could be, I like to craft in front of my TV, so I often cut lots of things like this in one go, and then I can sit on the couch with my husband. He thinks I'm hanging out and spending time with him, and in reality I'm getting my crafting done. So it's a 2-for little job then. He's happy, I'm happy. Now with our cardstock, keep in mind it is double-sided if you haven't seen it before. So there's a darker side and a lighter side. So you do just need to make sure that you've decided which side you want it so that you're cutting all your pieces the same way. Now I'm going to put the mini one together again. So all I did literally just crossed them over, joined them in the middle with another glue dot. So I'm going to do the same for the mini. And there's one. Okay. There's 2. Now, cardstock has a grain to it, and I think what I've done wrong on some of these is that I've cut my bow against the grain of the paper. And I'll grab a sheet of cardstock in just a second and I'll show you guys what I mean by the grain of the paper, because this one has sort of bowed quite nicely, and yet this one was a bit harder for me to make that nice same sort of look. So that's what I get for cutting in a hurry and not thinking about it and trying to maximize my paper use. So you've just got to be aware of that. If you want it more perfect looking, you will need to pay attention to the grain in the cardstock. I'll just grab this sheet of paper for you. So if you had never seen or heard of grain in the paper before, the fibers in the paper tend to all go one direction. And so when I try and curve my paper, so that way is really quite easy. There's no resistance. If I turn it the other way, I'm starting to get resistance. And so that means the fibers of my paper are going like the opposite way. So I want to be bending the same direction as the fiber, so this way. So when I place my cuts, to be able to allow my bend to go with the fibers, if my fiber's going this way, I want to be cutting this way. This piece doesn't matter as much because you're not curving it, but for the actual bow that you're curving, you want the fibers of your paper going up and down across that bow section so that when you're folding it over, it folds nice and easy. Whereas this has a bit more effort to it, and for smaller folds, that's why I'm getting that more creased look as opposed to a smoother, rounder look. So just keep that in mind. I clearly forgot that. Now, when joining the bow sections together, what I'm going to use is a slightly bigger glue dot. So I used the micro glue dots to hold the bow together, but now I'm going to use the next size up just because it's got more of a grip area. And I could actually use, and maybe I will, one of the large ones because again, more grip area. There we go. That's a bit better. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's up here and around. And then I'm going to offset that and just push it into the middle of that bow. And I'm going to repeat the process. And I could even put my glue dot on this one, just because that will be easier to do. And then pushing my bow into that one. Okay. My finishing touch on this, I want to add a gem into the center. So I just happen to have some old red gems that I think will, or acrylic gems that I think will look really nice. So I'm just going to add that into the middle. So it just finishes it off nicely. What I've done for some of the others, where I didn't have a color that was an appropriate color, I've taken gems and I've actually colored them. So for this little red bow, this little glitter gem in the middle, I've taken one of our tri-blend markers, the alcohol markers, and I've just lost my strip of glitter. There it is. I've literally taken the silver glitter gems and colored them with my tri-blend marker and then just left it to dry. All right, and it's not exactly the same color, but you can see once you put it on there, it doesn't really matter because the sparkle's all reflecting and everything like that. So I've just made my custom made red glitter gem to go into the middle to match. On my little copper one, okay, so white one, I just had some white pearls. So I've taken one of those white pearls. I've taken the Spectrum Noir metallic markers and I've just colored one in. And so, get this one out of my way. Same deal. I did a big one and I'm literally just coloring in my silver pearl. Now my white pearl, I actually did 2 coats. So I let this coat dry and I just kind of felt like it was still not quite right for me with the look I was after, and I did give it a second coat. So mine has actually become quite a matte sort of finish. So it does dry matter as it goes, and so it kind of matches the paper a little bit more. It's a matte sort of shiny finish there. So you can always custom your gem. So don't feel like you've got to necessarily have every color under the sun. The other day I got on and I had some green gems that weren't the right green for my project, but I just went over them with another green Spectrum Noir marker, turned them into the color I wanted. And so it didn't matter what color I started with, as long as your base color gem is either a neutral, so a white or even a silver, and then the color on top will cover over that. If you're using a colored gem on the bottom, you would just keep it a similar color tone to what you're creating. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed my little demo and it's inspired you to make some pretty bows. Have a great day. I'll put the links for the comments in the comments for the product. Bye.